Okay. Don't adjust your screen. we not get attacked by miniature transformers, and we're not stuck in their magical spaceship above Earth.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. My bad. We're supposed not to tell them that.
It's my toy room.
We are in Chad's nerdery. Transformers everywhere. There's
Gundam, G.I. Joe, Marvel,
even Family Guy,
well, yeah.
X-Men, Captain America Shield.
Stick was just whatever.
Yeah, so
2 violins,
lightsabers,
Imperial transport,
lightsabers. We'd probably make a whole podcast alone on just all the stuff here. But anyway, welcome to PUI. I'm JD.
And me.
I waited till you were drinking to do that. Bastard. And we're same house, just one of his rooms.
Move further back. The baby can hear us, and he's trying to sleep, so figured get our voices out of his way so he can actually take a nap.
Absolutely. If you never watched us before, we talk about sports. We usually talk about our favorite TV shows, but most of them are on hiatus for now.
And I am so far behind. It's not
Yeah, it's not.
What do you want me to do?
Unfunny at all. It's totally unfunny.
Being a daddy is a full-time job.
I know. So, you ever watched it? We're going to talk about football. We used to talk about our favorite shows, but since I'm on hiatus, we'll probably have like a nerd discussion in a while. Got one phone I'll throw at him. A couple maybe. Just to add some extra time. And then we will talk about our top 10 movies of last year and the most anticipated of next year. So, without further ado, football.
Did we do that last year?
No, we didn't.
We didn't highlight the year. We did our predictions for our favorites, but we did not do a highlight reel 2014.
Yes.
That was podcast 14.
Yeah. And we're on podcast 36 now. 36. By the way, it is the anniversary of the death of Super Scott. Peace, brother.
Sucks.
Peace with you, man. And, let's see. What else is there? Woodson. Charles Woodson retired.
Is retiring.
He's retiring. One defensive player to everyone Heisman.
Yes.
Like that. Yep.
It's active full time.
Yeah. I didn't play both ways. Yeah. Okay. You can technically still hear him back here. That's funny.
It's just, he's off the chain.
Okay, so we'll talk about some football. Some foosball. Go ahead. We'll talk about a little bit last week. Carolina lost, finally. Which, I don't know, it looked like they didn't even show up to try.
It was a trap. Well, they said how hard it was. That was one statement somebody did make. It's hard to coach a winning team. It's so hard to coach a winning team because you have nothing to throw in their face being like, this is what cost us the game. You got nothing to throw at them, so it's kind of
all you can say is
keep it up, boys. Work harder.
Or all you can throw out there is this could have cost us the game. There's nothing definitive about it, you know. But it didn't because we're that good. That's the way players think. That's why it's always good to lose one.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you can learn more from a loss because you approach it different. If you win and it's a close game, you're like, whew, dodge that one. Okay, we'll refocus.
On to the next thing.
But if you lose and it's a close one, you learn more from that.
Mm-hmm.
So. And then there's the whole Peyton Manning HGH thing, which if you haven't watched our podcast before, I have my opinion on this. I think HGH should be allowed in football because it's mainly used to recover from an injury. And football being as high impact as it is, you need to recover from injuries. So that's why I personally don't have an issue with it, but some people do, and the NFL obviously does. Probably because they can't regulate it, but
they're not making money on it.
Yeah.
But of course, technically they are, because the sooner the player gets back out on the field, the more money they're going to make. Because when people bought Broncos tickets at the beginning of the season, they didn't buy them to watch Brock Osweiler play.
Yeah. So you have your stars that are out of the games. You're not going to make as much money as having your stars in the game.
Yeah, and the only other thing from last week was the Patriots lost, and if the Steeler finalia are to be believed, they did it on purpose in order to try to keep the Steelers out of the Super Bowl or something. I have no idea.
Because the scenario played out that if the Jets make the playoffs, the Steelers wouldn't. So, there was another scenario that the Patriots have no control over. If last week Cincinnati would have beat the Broncos, and then the Broncos would have lost this week to San Diego, Broncos would have been out of the playoffs because Kansas City would have won the division.
Mm-hmm.
So that wouldn't have mattered anyway. But I mean, that's something out of their control anyway.
6 of 1, half dozen the other. It doesn't matter why they lost. The point is they lost, and it made it a little bit more interesting because literally the only thing that needed to be decided in the NFC was what seed Minnesota was going to be and what seed Green Bay was going to
be. And Seattle.
Yeah.
If Seattle lost, it could have been the 6th seed.
Yeah, so that was the only thing to be decided. It made the AFC a little more interesting because it could have gone like one of 6 ways, depending on which 2 teams won and which teams lost. But the Broncos won and the Steelers won, so there's your bracket.
You got the leg area. Okay, so this week we didn't do any predictions last week.
I would probably pick the Bills anyway over the Jets.
I would pick the Jets.
But that's what happens when Fitzy throws 3 touchdowns or 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter, and then his wide receiver bobbles the ball.
Great meme I saw like right after the game last night. It goes to another team and is still keeping the Jets out of the playoffs. That's right.
Patriots lost to the Dolphins for obvious reasons because they sat most everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Saints rolled over the Falcons.
I would have picked the Broncos first off. I would have picked the Patriots in that game.
I'd have picked Miami.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell's my personal juice. Not really.
I'd have picked Saints. So. You said Saints?
I probably would have picked the Saints.
I wish that
I would have picked Detroit.
I'd pick the Bears. I would have picked the Bears.
I'd have picked the Eagles.
I probably picked the Eagles too, just to see how bad Chip Kelly was.
Well, but no, because that's that thing that always happens. Fire head coach, put somebody else in there. Seems like everyone wins the next game.
Seems like it. If that's the case, someone should try that and fire a coach every week. Just to test that theory. Yeah.
Just to see how that goes.
Just to see how that goes.
Skins won.
Would you have picked them?
We're
going to the playoffs.
I would have picked them, but only because Kellen Moore doesn't have enough skin under his belt yet, or enough time.
Redskins going to the playoffs.
I would have picked the Colts.
I would have picked the Titans.
Without Mariota?
Oh, Mariota didn't play?
Yeah.
I picked Colts. Okay. Josh Freeman started. I thought he was done. He started for the Colts.
We all hoped. I'd have picked the Bungles.
The Bungles? I picked the Bengals.
So the Bengals won.
Yeah.
The Steelers, I would have picked them over the Browns, and they did win.
I picked the Browns. No, I don't like Steelers. I want them out of the playoffs.
Jags.
I was trolling Megan to work so hard. I think they'd have won the game with Manzel.
He keeps fucking up.
I don't think he. I think the same thing happening to him, the same thing is going on with Robert Griffin III. Like, if someone's like, Mike texted me, I'll show you the message. He's like Robert's family, a handful of members of his family, not his like immediate family, his wife and kids and his parents, but were like wearing like RG3 Dallas jerseys. And Mike's like, fuck that guy, fuck RG3. I'm like, first off, it's his family doing it, not him. He's still wearing Redskin colors. He's still wearing Redskin jerseys and stuff. Second, I have no issue even if he did do it. You want to know why he did? Because the way they treated him, they don't deserve any of his graciousness. Any of his. He's still standing on the team. He's still there cheering for him in good faith. But he does. They honestly, the way he was treated and the way he was like pushed aside and said, "You're not to put on a uniform the rest of this year. You know you're the franchise quarterback. You got paid like it." The way he was treated, I'm on his side if he did do that. But he didn't do that. He stayed until the end of the season. He's still there now. I have no issue with it.
And what does that have to do with Jonny Manzel?
Oh, I'm going to do the same thing with Jonny Manzel, too. Jonny Manzel, I think it was the same thing happened to him. He should have been starter this year, but he wasn't.
He's still shooting himself in the foot despite his face.
How is he shooting himself in the foot? I want people to explain.
When you're supposed to report to the medical staff, you're supposed to report. That's not negotiable. That's not up for negotiation. If you are told that Sunday morning you are to report to the staff,
you're right.
You have to be there. But he keeps doing dumb shit like that.
Sunday morning, the day of a game?
But after he swears up and down that he's doing everything he's supposed to do and doing exactly what they tell him to, and then he's missing that this little dumb shit that makes all the difference in the world in the mind
Well,
of the
first
GM,
off, he was
the
already
mind of the GM and the ownership.
First off, he had a concussion, so the fact that he does or does not show up for this is not going to prevent him from playing. He's not playing anyway as a concussion. So,
but it's still the point of the thing. You want to be. I think this is one thing the Browns organization has done very well with this kid because of the reputation he had coming in.
Anything good with him. Go ahead.
Well, what they've done is they've tried to say, be here, do this, don't do that, down the line. And it seems like every time, and I mean, look at all the other really good quarterbacks in the league,
mm-hmm.
even when they were rookies. Go back to their rookie seasons or the first year that they actually were the starter.
Well, you're comparing apples to oranges. I don't mean to interrupt you, but because now we are in the social media age, and he is one of your first real social media friendly quarterbacks.
You can be social media friendly, but you don't have to make it look like you're the party guy. Gronkowski is the party guy. Everyone knows he's the freaking party guy. But I guarantee you, he has never missed a meeting. He has never missed an appointment. If Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick say, Gronk, here, now, he comes running like the best little puppy dog you've ever owned. I guarantee you he does.
I bet he does.
He plays the game. He knows how it's played. You could be a raging asshole all off season if that's what you want to do. You can break a million hearts, lay a million bitches, do whatever the hell you want to do, but he keeps his nose clean. He does an amazing job at it. And he's probably one of the heaviest partiers in the league. Clean partiers in the league, I'll say that. Because, I mean, here we are in 2016 now, 2015 last year, and we still have NFL players getting fucking shot in cabs and shit. What? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yes.
You got the league minimum is what, $450,000?
I think so.
That ain't enough to provide a comfortable living and security if you realize that you grew up bad and you need to straighten out.
That is a decent amount to provide comfortable living. I mean, that's
a very comfortable living.
Yeah, it's a decent amount. Well, it's not a lot for if you have to pay for a lot. Well, I think the league pays for that anyway, if you remember. But my point with Jonny Manzel is everything he does is put under this microscope of always skepticism. No one ever looks at it and says he's just having a good time. No one ever does that. It's always put under this. Oh, he should be out drinking. He should be looking at the playbook. You're supposed to read the playbook at midnight on a Monday night when you don't have practice on Tuesdays. No one has practice on Tuesdays in the NFL, except for teams that are like really desperate to win or something.
Well, if it weren't for all the negative media that he had, I don't think anyone would be complaining about it now. But then when last January, I'm going into rehab. I need to rehab myself. Well, no one still knows what the fuck he went into rehab for, except for him and his agent and anyone around him. And then you get the cops catch you in an altercation with your wife, whether or not anything.
I have a bigger issue with the altercation I do with him.
It could have just been an argument in the front seat of a car.
Yeah. For all we know, he went to rehab because it's not for his drinking. It could have been for drugs because there was pictures floating around of him like rolling up a $20 bill and doing.
That's coke. Yeah,
that's or pills, but usually coke.
Yeah, only the finest of the fine snort coke. I mean, you don't just fucking snort up pills when you're making that much money. I'm arguing.
I'm not gonna show up and drug test compared to cocaine. So. I'm pretty sure pills get out of your system quicker. But anyway, apples oranges.
$1 million isn't enough to get you high. Like, I'd just be happy having that kind of money floating around in the bank.
You and I've talked about this before. If I had the talent, you had the talent. Like if someone paid me $5 million a year to lift weights every day, run all the time, be in shape,
I'd be the runningest weightlifting motherfucker there ever was.
Yeah. Even if you're the backup guy, you'd be the backup running this weightliftingest motherfucker ever.
For what?
You can buy good food. You can hire someone to cook you really good food and stay in shape, and you're gonna get laid all the time because you're in good shape. You're gonna be financially secure for the rest of your life. I don't understand how stupid people are.
Well, Matt Hasselbeck.
We don't have the same background. We don't have the same background as more than half these players, but still, I don't understand how you don't put two and two together and say they're giving me this opportunity to I can provide, and this is like, and you can say all you want about basketball players, but you agree with me if you want. There are more basketball players that have turned themselves into model citizens coming from that kind of background and are just maintain and be model citizens. Can we agree? Because LeBron James is from like the streets of Akron.
For the most part, yes. For the most part, like I would say somewhere around.
It's 80%. Like 80 to 90.
I'd give it 80%.
85. Can we split hairs? 85.
Well, because there's still a couple bad. What? That one fucking dude got shot.
Which one?
Leaving a strip club last week.
Which one?
I don't know. Fucking, it's a basketball player. I
don't remember.
He got shot in the knee. It was a through and through. Missed all the major shit.
I missed that.
So he was gonna be able to play again. Yeah, I can't remember the dude's name, but he got shot in the knee leaving a strip club in, I guess it was New York or whatever. But it's like, why? You got all that money. What's the NBA league minimum?
NBA league minimum. I can actually look that up real quick.
We have the internet. We can make it so number
interwebs.
No, there was a girl I didn't like that used the word interwebs.
You can take the veteran minimum is that much, 500,000.
All right.
If you hold on, that is if you're like first time in the NBA or whatever, you're a young player. Once you're a veteran of 10 years or more, that is your minimum, 14 million, 1.4 million. Sorry, that is the minimum you have to make after 10 years.
Okay, so for $500,000,
I'm gonna double check on the NFL league just to be safe.
I think it's $450,000, but
I do too. But,
I can't imagine myself.
420,000 is the league minimum for the NFL.
For that kind of money, you know what happens for that kind of money? A year. If you live,
that's if you're on the 53-man roster. If you're practice squad, you make 100,000. But okay, sorry, man.
Okay, that's still 3 times what I make a year.
Yeah, it's more than 5 times what I make. Probably 5 times what I make.
For $100,000 a year, I could live very comfortably.
Yeah,
I could live very comfortably. There'd be a lot of fucking bills paid, not have a lot of freed up money for shit.
Yeah,
for additions to the house and buying him all kind of crazy shit. Like there'd be a lot of freed up money floating around for $100,000.
We would be doing podcasts from Comic-Con.
Yes, we would.
We would be
trying to show on the road. We take our show on the road.
We would. We
would be at Still CityCon 3 times a year. We'd go to
we'd have some kind of GoPro. We'd put like a big ass battery in this, and we would just have like podcasts on the go.
We'd just take a set of those fucking folding camping chairs and just set up in the middle of Comic-Con and be like, and see how many photo bombs we get.
Yeah, we probably get a dozen. And you and I would both invest a decent amount of money in making the best costumes possible.
There's sometimes I really want to just grab my cats and throw them outside. Like, you have no idea. The
See,
baby's trying to fucking sleep and they're out there.
Only thing you have to worry about dogs is stuff exploding. Like pillows.
Killing me, Smalls. Killing me.
Okay.
The point is, for that kind of money, you could live very comfortably, but a lot of people make the bad decision that as opposed to living comfortably, they would rather appear to be, quote unquote, I have used this term before and I'm using it again, nigger rich, which I think is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen as a societal trait, which I have $100 in my pocket, but I look like I'm carrying 10 grand. Drives me nuts. I don't know why you would do that to self, because then you've just made yourself a target for what I'm led to understand or believe is an underprivileged, often looked over part of society. And those people are always looking to get ahead. And by those people, I mean the poor, not just necessarily a race of people. Why would you go to fucking Queens to a strip club if you're making $500,000 a year? Because you know what happens? You know what happens when you have $500,000 a year and your mortgage and your car payment isn't that bad? Strippers come to you.
Yeah.
They come to you. You call that person that nobody knows about. What was her name in Hollywood? Mistress to the Stars, or you know what I'm talking about. She'd had a high dollar escort service in Hollywood and provided for the stars when they wanted certain things.
Yeah, that's his name, Cleanthony Everett, or Cleanthony.
Whatever.
Yeah, he played for Wichita State. He's like a rookie.
Well, but it doesn't matter. He's still making $500,000 a year. So
Clay Anthony Early, that's his name.
Made $500,000 a year, and you're going to the strip club. Why? Because now you're just showing off. You just put yourself in a bad situation. When you put yourself in a bad situation, it's hard for me to feel bad for you when bad things happen to you.
I think he makes a little more. But okay.
You get my point.
Yeah,
that's my
point. Your point is
point.
made, but
you can live very, very fucking comfortably on that kind of money and live very cleanly, and you can have a very dirty life and no one would ever have to know about it.
So how do we get on this topic?
Jonny Manzel.
Jonny Manzel. Okay. So Jonny Manzel. Here's my take on Jonny Manzel. I don't care what he does. What does he do on the football field? He plays.
He
football.
does okay.
He does okay. Based around on the talent around him, I think he does pretty darn good.
I think he could do better personally.
If he had Josh Gordon,
yeah. What did he rush for the other day? 108 yards,
something like that.
Yeah.
Last year,
88 yards.
See, last week he almost won. Last week he tried to spike it on the last play of the game because the guy didn't get out of bounds or something. And he got mad and spiked his helmet. So I don't understand. See, I have a feeling. Yeah, he did. He spiked it. Slammed it. And my understanding is here's my huge issue. I don't think he had a concussion. I think they just told him you have a concussion. You're gonna say you have a concussion, so we're not gonna play you the rest of the season.
It is what it is.
I'm sorry, but no,
he has been. I will give you that he has been mistreated and mishandled by the ownership.
Okay.
I think they put more pressure on him to do more in one season than any one man. I quite honestly believe at this point in time, if you put Tom Brady in that offense, it would be, I don't know, a 10-16 at best.
I can believe it. Well, they've been in every game, so
at best they'd be at 10-16.
I think if he'd started, they'd at least be 8-8.
Johnny?
Yes, if he'd have started the whole season. He didn't start until, let's say, week 4 was his first start.
When was it, Austin? No, Austin Davis.
No, the starter was Clown. Josh McCown. See,
that's like
my issue is don't sit there and say you hate the guy, you don't want him on your team, and then when you need him to play, he steps in and plays pretty decently. Actually, I think on all of his starts, he's like 2-2 in his starts. And he has over 300 yards a game whenever he starts. That's not bad. Plus all of his rushing yards you just mentioned.
Well, and he's willing to take the game into his hands.
Yeah,
he is not afraid to lose a game on the big play.
I don't understand. This is why the Browns are never going to be successful. You don't know how to manage your stars and your talent. Josh Gordon is an example of someone you mishandled horribly, and I think what they're doing is trying to overcorrect and make sure they overhandle Jonny Manzel. I think Jonny Manzel can handle him having a drink and him going and doing things and having fun.
Josh Gordon actually has a drug problem.
Yeah,
the fucker can't stay away from this shit.
I don't think they handled it as serious as they thought they should have. As they probably should have.
The league took care of that.
Well, he's pretty much out. Was still technically still contracted by him. But my point is, I think that they mishandled Josh Gordon so poorly because he partied. And his party issue was a serious drug issue, not drinking. Even though he did have a DUI, he has a serious drug use problem that Jonny Manzel seems like he doesn't have. All I ever hear about him doing is drinking, and he gets in trouble for going out having a drink whenever the team's losing. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to just sit around and mope whenever your team's losing all the time? I mean, I'm sorry, but Gronkowski was out for a year and he was still partying. So is he wrong in his doing? I just don't understand the hypocrisy that the NFL wants their players to be this, and this. And when you don't fall into this, and this, but on the football field you at least are productive, they want to ostracize you for one thing and then criticize you for this. And as long as you have to fit in this nice little mold. And I'm bringing up RG3. RG3 was exactly the same way. He didn't fit the mold of what they wanted to be their quarterbacks.
Well, then they switched head coaches on him too. So.
Yeah, that didn't help either. So a lot of things that they didn't like for example, Cam Newton is breaking the mold right now. I'm gonna. If you look up his numbers right now, is like what he has almost 4,000 passing yards and 30 some touchdowns.
Yeah, but it's actually
Drew Brees does that every fucking year, and he was only the MVP one time. Yeah. Why is it a big deal that he's doing it? And don't get me wrong, I think Cam Newton is the MVP because he's done more for his team than a lot of other players have done for their team.
I think the culture of the NFL is officially changing.
Maybe.
I think it was shifting there for a while, but I think it's officially changing now. Like, it's not the NFL I grew up with, to where the hard work ethic, you can be a brazen star, you can be arrogant on the field, but 9 to 5, I don't want to hear about you bullshit. Like, that used to be the way it was.
Jimmy Johnson. I call it the Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson used to say, I don't care what you do off the field. I don't want to see your name in the paper. You can go drink. You can go do all this stuff. I don't want to see your name in the paper. But when you come in, play football, you play football. You're playing football. Was it not Des Bryant? Aikman. Or not Aikman.
Troy Emmett.
The receiver. The one name you missed. Michael Irvin. Like, that's the culture of Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin wasn't exactly the most perfect guy either. He had his drug issues. But he worked it out because he knew it was going to interfere with his playing football.
Whoa. Deion Sanders was an arrogant son of a bitch. He's still an arrogant son of a bitch.
Well, he didn't play for Dallas that long. But
but you know what I mean? Like, he fit into that system. He was able to function normally. His name was out of the papers. Like, I think that's the most important thing is, like, I don't think the NFL gives a shit too much what you do.
See, that's the thing. Manzel's name is never in the paper. That's the point.
But that's
my point.
But see, the papers change. When I grew up, it was you did not want to be on the front page of the sport page following morning unless it said winner, winner, chicken dinner. Any other reason to be on the front page of the sport page was the worst thing ever. Now we don't have the sports page so much. We have Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, on down the line, and Instagram, and then everybody can have access. Jonny Manzel is a guy who likes that. He likes to be the center of attention. He likes to be that guy at the party. So when you pull out your phone and you're all like,
see what he needs to do,
and he's like, and there it is.
What he needs to do is you need to take a lesson
and the NFL can't control
it. I think it's a part of him marketing himself, and a lot of people like it. He has, I think, more followers than most NFL players. I don't understand the issue. He's having a drink with his friends. Who gives a rat's ass? If you don't want to see him doing that, don't follow him on Facebook. Don't follow him on Twitter. Don't follow him on Vine.
Well, I don't.
That's my point. That's the NFL will just need to, they monitor that stuff and like, oh, you're having a drink here, Johnny. That doesn't look good for the NFL. Yeah, neither does all your players that are beating up their wives and beating up women and smacking their child. But you know what? You let that go. But for some reason, my drinking's an issue. That's it's the utter. You're almost coming off the screen here, sorry.
Well, I think
that's the utter hypocrisy that I have. The issue I have is the hypocrisy that him having a drink is as big a deal as Ray Rice beating his wife, punching his wife in the face, Greg Hardy beating up a girl, throwing her on a bed full of guns, and you said allegedly, but there is a report and he was convicted. She just didn't show up in court of law, and there's a $60,000 transfer of money from his bank account to hers. So
under court of law,
he was convicted.
No, under court of law, he was acquitted.
Under a court of law, he was initially convicted.
But in the appeals court, he was acquitted. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, $60,000.
I understand what you're saying.
And she gets $10,000 a month.
That's it? Wow.
It might be for the next 5 years.
Yeah, but that's like walking away with nothing. When you're talking about that kind of money.
Well, that's $60,000 like initially.
Well, he's worth more than that.
For now. Well, that's my point. Him having a drink is as egregious. Remember when we were talking about Deflategate, how is if Tom Brady is involved in deflating the football, is that as bad, and does that deserve the same punishment as Ray Rice getting an 8-game suspension or 4-game suspension for hitting his wife, or Greg Hardy getting a 4-game suspension for hitting his wife?
Tom Hardy's suspension, or not
Greg
Tom Hardy, Jesus Christ, Greg Hardy, fucking me up, kid. Tom Brady's suspension should actually be higher.
Why?
Because it's a more egregious offense.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Because you're actually tampering with the
First
quality
off,
of the game.
There's a proof that Ray Rice punched his wife, and that's why he gets 4 games.
What does that come down to the integrity of the game?
There's proof that Greg Hardy did what he did to his wife. It was enough to get him convicted initially, and then he got acquitted in appeals because he paid her off. Okay? So in one court, he was ruled guilty. That's all I'm trying to say on that.
I agree, but overall, he was acquitted, and that's what we have to go by, is what the court said.
Okay, fair enough. You have two guys beginning of this year, had missed, 2 to 4 games because of drug use last year?
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell got caught with LeGarrette Blount.
Don't
hang out with LeGarrette Blount. Just don't.
Your last name is Blount. You're going to get caught.
Yeah, don't hang out with that dude. That's bad. Like, they're going to look at the license in the car and be like, Blount.
We're not getting back on the Tom Brady
How
thing.
Convenient.
It's not damn. You can't prove he did anything. All you have is speculation.
I didn't say he did. I didn't say he didn't.
Anyone.
I think he did. I think he did. I don't know anything. I think he did. That's
think
besides the point.
He at least was aware that the ball was very lowly inflated. Whether he was aware that it was underinflated, I do not know that. That's my honest opinion. I don't know. I can't. That's speculation. It's all speculation because we can't really prove or know what's really in his mind. I think he knew the ball was lighter than it had been, so that it was comfortable for him, so he just didn't question it.
The point of the conversation, the point you're trying to make, and the point that I'm going not really against, but I'm seeing a different angle of, is when it comes down to the integrity of the game, like actually cheating the NFL. Hold on. Cheating the game of football or cheating the NFL. I think to the NFL, that should be more offensive and a higher penalty than someone who's doing some dumb shit on the side.
So Clay Matthews and Peyton Manning should be suspended right now because of speculation, no evidence, merely speculation that they took HGH.
No. I didn't say that. I didn't say anything about speculation.
That is speculation. There's no proof that Tom Brady had any involvement.
I didn't see. You're arguing something that I'm not even talking about. I'm just saying, as far as the NFL is concerned, if it comes down to the integrity of the game, if he is caught, convicted, and proven, his suspension should be more than Ray Rice's, Greg Hardy's, or anyone else's, because that's actually fuck that bullshit they like to say about protecting the shield. Protecting the integrity of the game is protecting the shield. If you are not,
they don't care about the integrity of the game.
But if you don't, if that should be more egregious than some asshole who fucking likes to beat up people or kids or whatever. Granted, what they did was terrible. It was absolutely horrible, and they should not have done that. And the NFL has every right to punish their employees for such egregious offenses. That's fine. But I'm just saying, if they want to keep throwing up the integrity of the game, if you actually cheat the game, drug use, ball inflation, I don't know, breaking a guy's leg on purpose, whatever, that should be a more egregious offense to the NFL than what the other guys did. That's all I'm saying. If proven, NFL, I did not say Tom Brady's going to get innocent. We're not talking about that right now. I'm just saying if proven.
I understand that. If the NFL was concerned about the integrity of the game so much, they would have their officiating crew being way more efficient on being officials. First off,
I don't know why they're not full time. The head of the referees should be full time employees of the NFL.
I agree with you. But they're not worried about the integrity. You don't know why they don't care about the integrity of the game, because regardless of whether the referees suck this week or are good next week, or we have the replacement refs, we still watch football. So why should they care?
Well, now we have something to talk about.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
And now we're saying NFL, hashtag NFL. So there's that.
So they're not. I plead you, they're not worried about the integrity of the game. All they worry about is what happens on the field, and does that spark people? Now, why is it okay? That's full circle. Why is it okay when other guys do stuff off the field and they're given light suspensions and they're still allowed in the league and what they're doing is okay, but Jonny Manzel can't go out and have a drink with his friends or whatever? What he honestly needs to do is take a hint from Chris Carter or do what Gronkowski does. He has a party. You walk in. You say, you put your phone in here. You'll get it back when you leave. No pictures, no parties. We're going to have fun. We're going to be in here. We're going to do coke. We're going to drink, whatever the case may be. But you are not to take pictures of anything in this party.
Yeah.
When you leave, you can grab your phone. That's what needs to happen.
Actually, I think Gronk does do that.
He does. That's exactly what.
Because you don't see any selfies popping up on Twitter.
Sometimes if he's out and about, he will. Like when
when the Gronk bus rolls, you don't see any. You only see any twit pics from the Gronk bus. How many times have you seen the twit pics?
Kentucky Derby. Last year, there was pictures of him and like a bunch of other like.
Yeah, but on the Gronk bus. The Gronk bus. When have you seen a twit pic from the Gronk bus?
I don't follow. Twitter, so I've never seen that. But
it doesn't happen.
What it is he's not Jonny Manzel. That's what it is.
I think he's a really smart individual.
I would assume that he can't control people taking pictures of him, so I would just assume that he's Gronkowski and no one cares.
Or he's Gronkowski and you're on my bus, so it's my rule.
Well, I'm sure he goes other places where he's not. It's not just his bus.
At least he's smart about it, apparently.
So I don't see the issue with Jonny Manzel. If he's having a drink with his friends, who fucking cares? Gives a shit. Does he show up and play? Does he show up for practice? Does he show? Now I understand him not showing up for his meeting. The thing he was supposed to be at. That I'm completely with you on. But he was told he was apparently he had a concussion after he led almost a game-winning drive. All he needed to do is get one spike in and get one more second on the clock to have one more play, and he could have probably been. I think it was the Buccaneers last week. Who was he to play? Whoever he played last week. He had one more play, one more. I might have been the Ravens.
It was Ravens last week.
No, last week was Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh and Ravens. Yeah, the Ravens beat the Steelers.
Whoever it was. Doesn't matter. That's not important. The point is when he shows up and plays, he plays well, and he's their best quarterback, and he's been their best quarterback all season. The only issue is apparently the coach gets all butthurt because it's our week off and you're in Vegas. Yeah, everyone else is in Vegas too. Yeah, but you're Jonny Manzel. You're in Vegas.
To that end, I agree with you, but no, I think what Jonny caused for himself, going to rehab might have been a good thing. Whatever the rehab was for all we know, it could be fucking anger management.
For all we know,
it could be anger management. That's all it could be.
That's what people don't understand is when you rehab from something or get over something, you don't just get over the substance. You get over the reason why you were abusive of the substance. For all we know, he went in there and he conquered his demons of why he drank a lot. Maybe his parents were neglecting him or something as a child or whatever. I mean, he got to talk about those things. Or maybe his issue was drugs and it wasn't alcohol.
Well, but who knows? I think that's part of the reason that the Browns have him on such a heady microscope is because
You're sliding off screen a lot. There you go.
I think that's part of the reason that he's under such a microscope for the ownership of the Browns is because he comes out and all of a sudden he says, "Oh, I have a problem. I'm going to rehab." Jonny Manzel's in rehab. Jonny Manzel comes out of rehab. Jonny Manzel seems like he's doing a really, really good job. Jonny Manzel gets in an altercation with his wife, but apparently the media, media likes to use the word altercation for a verbal disagreement, which I'll never understand that because as soon as you hear altercation, I think
punches.
Yeah, well, punches thrown, pushes done, that kind of thing. And I think misreporting hasn't helped him whatsoever at all. But then again, doing dumb shit doesn't help your case. I understand it's my week off. I want to go to fucking Vegas and party with my boys. I'm going to go to Vegas and party with my fucking boys. The only thing I need to be is ready to go by Monday at 8 a.m. That's all you require of me. That much of it I get. But I think his problem is he made such a big deal about this whole rehab thing that they expected him to come out and not have these problems anymore. And then to the Browns organization, not to me, not to you, not to Joe Schmo, it's not a problem, but to the Browns organization, it's a problem because they had this glowing image of Jonny Manzel leaving rehab with a halo and fucking angel wings and all that happy horseshit, and then it didn't happen. So I think and I agree with you on this, they're over punishing Jonny in the hopes that he doesn't become Josh Gordon. But the problem is,
I don't think they're the same.
It's not the same, but that's what they're doing. I agree with you on that. That's exactly what they're doing. They're over punishing Jonny because they don't want another Josh Gordon. Well, the problem is that Josh Gordon came from a completely different community than Jonny Manzel did. Mm-hmm. Jonny Manzel came from an affluent family. He didn't grow up in no hood. He didn't grow up in, backwoods, fucking West Virginia welfare nation.
Yeah.
None of that shit. He came from an affluent family. Josh Gordon did not. Josh Gordon came from the hood. And he's still trying to be hood, even though he's not anymore. That's part of his problem. But they are over punishing Jonny to try to make up for what they didn't do for Josh.
It's weird to be hood when apparently there's drug problems, marijuana and cocaine. Or ramp. People in the hood don't smoke cocaine. They don't have the money to do that. We need to get off the Jonny Manzel topic. Let's move on to the next game.
Yes. Actually, we're kind of in agreement, so we'll just leave it.
We're in agreement to a degree.
Yeah, we always are.
I don't see the issue. You don't see the issue either, but you see the Browns' point of view on it. I don't. I think that they've done a horrible job over their lifetime as a franchise of managing talent, and this is another example of how they're mismanaging talent. Some players, you got to get a feel for them and understand what works. Jonny Manzel, let him do his thing. Like, you can go out and party, just keep it off social. That's all they should say to them. It's not like, no, you're not allowed to party, you're not allowed to be on social. No, you can't put that in. Just say, you can party.
Keep it off social media.
Keep it off social media. We're good. We're cool with that.
We don't want to do
and
that.
You show up and do a good job. We're cool with that. Josh Gordon, you're gonna have a guy with you all the time. He's your bodyguard.
He follows you around.
He follows you everywhere. That's what you got. Like, for example, Des Bryant. He had a security guard with him at all time because of his off-field issues. What is he now? He's been a pretty model citizen the last 2 years,
really had
right?
a problem.
You have to learn at you can't have every player like, you get a bodyguard, you get a bodyguard, you get a bodyguard, you get a bodyguard. Everyone gets a bodyguard. I'm Oprah. You know, that's not how it works. Every player is different. RG3 needs a guy to keep him off social media. Kirk Cousins needs a guy to get him a girl because he looks like he just never goes out and has fun. You know, whatever. What he probably does. I'm just saying, he just looks like he's like this quiet guy. He looks like the quiet guy at a party. You know what I mean? It's like if you had Captain America at a party with full women, he's like, I don't know who to talk to. You know, this is what he comes off like. You know the movie. Like, you never have a date. No, I don't go on dates. You know, so every guy's different. Ben Roethlisberger, early in his career, needed that micromanagement because he was a loose cannon. He was a head case. He was an idiot.
He wasn't.
Now he's got a family. He doesn't need that shit.
Well, I will say this. I think it's fucking sadder shit that 22-year-old men need fucking coaching, life coaching. Like, seriously.
Yeah, well,
I went through college.
Fair, they don't deal with life problems.
I got all my dumb shit out in college. Like, that was the point of college. Was just to fucking
sometimes you go through college
and
your goal in college is to completely work your ass off to get to the next level, to get your money.
I did all my dumb shit in college.
So,
I thought that was the point.
Well, you may have had better chances to do dumb shit. If you're from the hood and you go to college, how much money you have to go party?
Don't even tell me about how poor these motherfuckers are.
Ignoring the possibility of boosters.
More ink than I've seen in my life, and I know how expensive ink is.
Okay. I'm just saying. Every player is different. You got to manage them different. And that's part of, I'm sure, a handful of players in the NFL that get drafted fall through the cracks because of that. And actually, we're going to pause this real quick and just go to another one. We talked about that for a while. Part one, part two. Okay?
Do you just, part one, part two of the NFL?
Yes.
Okay.
Part one, part two, real quick.